A ball crosses a white line, and somewhere a grandmother falls to her knees. A stranger hugs another stranger. A child remembers the sound of a room exploding. A man who has not cried in 10 years suddenly cannot speak. Nothing has happened, and everything has. This is the strange power of the World Cup. On paper, it's simple. 22 people, 2 nets, 1 ball. But nobody watches the World Cup on paper. We watch it through memory, through family, through flags, through every story a country tells about itself. For 90 minutes, a nation becomes a body. Its speed becomes our hope. Its hesitation becomes our fear. Its mistakes feel personal. Its victories feel inherited. That is why we say we won. Not they, we. But identity does not care about logic. Give people the same shirt, the same song, and the same enemy, and millions of separate lives begin moving as one creature. The World Cup does not merely gather fans. It creates a temporary people. And every people needs a story. One carries an old defeat. One carries a golden generation growing old. One is desperate to prove it belongs. Another is haunted by the fact that it once ruled the world. Before the first whistle, the plot has already begun. That is why a match is never just a match. It is revenge, redemption, inheritance, rebellion. History puts on boots, and then it chooses a face. A teenager becomes the hope of 50 million people. A goalkeeper becomes a wall. A captain becomes a father. A villain becomes a hero with one touch. This is how the World Cup manufactures myth. Not slowly, instantly. 1 second, a player is simply talented. The next, the ball leaves his foot, bends through the air, and enters the net. Now his name no longer belongs only to him. It belongs to memory. But myth needs danger. That is why football hurts. The clock keeps moving. The chance does not return. The better team can lose. The greatest player can fail. A single mistake can outlive an entire career. Nowhere is this cruelty clearer than the penalty spot. One player walks forward alone. Behind him, his teammates. In front of him, the goalkeeper. Inside him, every fear he has ever hidden. Around him, a stadium holding its breath. Beyond it, a country waiting to decide what this moment means. The distance is only 12 yards, but for a few seconds, it is the longest walk on earth. If he scores, strangers may name children after him. If he misses, he may hear the silence for the rest of his life. The ball is small, the burden is not. And when the final whistle comes, the result travels far beyond the stadium. It enters homes, schools, family stories. People remember where they were, who they were with, who was still alive. And that is why defeat can feel like grief. You are mourning the future you had already imagined. The parade, the photograph, the feeling of finally being seen. But this is also why victory feels like resurrection. For one night, old divisions become quieter. The tired feel awake. The invisible feel visible. A country looks at itself and sees not what it is, but what it could be. But for a few hours, people experience something modern life rarely gives them. The same emotion at the same time. For the same reason, the World Cup gathers it. Billions of eyes. One field, one gasp, one clock counting down. Perhaps that is why the World Cup feels sacred. Not because football is a religion, but because it creates ritual. The shirt, the anthem, the pilgrimage, the chant, the belief that what happens here will be remembered. A stadium becomes a temple without walls. The players become symbols, and the ball becomes a question. Who are you when the whole world is watching? Maybe that is what we are really drawn to. Not the game itself, but the human truth it reveals. Courage under pressure, fear disguised as aggression, hope surviving evidence, the loneliness of responsibility, the need to belong, the desire to become immortal before the clock runs out. The World Cup compresses all of it into 90 minutes. It gives history a scoreboard. It gives nations a heartbeat. It gives ordinary people a stage large enough to become legend. So yes, it is only football, only 22 people, only 1 ball, only a white line. But when the ball crosses it, the world changes shape for a moment. And humanity remembers what it feels like to share one story.